So we're going to start standing on our mat and sort of, oh, let me just change that. A sec, that's it. Will that work? Right, okay, right, so we start by standing on our mat. So soles of your feet flat to the floor. So just having that sense of connection. So you can look down at your feet, doesn't matter if you're wearing socks, whatever you're doing, but just wiggle your toes around a little bit. So when we're sitting or, you know, when we're working, we forget parts of our body, and we need, you know, all of our body needs to work. No one part of our body is more important or less important than another. Everything works as a whole. So when we come to stand, it's our feet that support us. So if you wiggle your toes, move your toes, move your fingers as well. You might find that helps you wiggle your toes. And then stop. And then we're just going to roll onto the outside edges of our feet. So notice what happens when you roll onto the outside edges of the feet. Obviously your arches lift, the knees go out that way. When you roll onto the inside edges of your feet, the arches collapse, your knees drop in. Just do that a few times, and you can also trace that through to what's happening with your hips. So when you roll onto the outside edges of the feet, notice what's happening with the hips. When you roll onto the inside edges, can you feel that connection from the feet to the heels, the ankles, the knees, right up through to the hips? And ultimately, that movement, that feeling, that connection comes all the way back through to the spine. So whatever is happening with your feet has a direct correlation to the rest of the spine. And I've just realised I'm not recording, so bear with me. Just so, recording, sorry. I say recording. Right, so just allowing that to continue. No, it's recording. Sorry, and then just come to stop. So the feet just flat to the floor, and then just lift up one heel at a time. And if you have your hands on your hips, you can feel that connection deep inside through the hips as well. So when you lift up one right heel, the right hip will lift. When you lift up the left heel, the left hip will lift. When the heel comes down, the hip will come down. Just kind of getting that sense of connection. You might even be able to work that through with your shoulders as well. So when the left heel lifts, the left hip lifts, the left shoulder lifts, then everything rests down. When the right heel lifts, the right hip lifts, the right shoulder can lift, then everything rests down. It's just like a puppet really, as though you're being drawn up through the shoulder to lift the heel. So just kind of see if that's possible. And then the next time you draw up the right heel, take the right arm up and reach up. So from the right heel, on the tips of the right toes, from the right heel, through the hip, through the side of the body, all the way up, and look up towards your right fingers. Breathe in, and then as you breathe out, just let the arm come down, let the right side of the body rest down. Draw up the left heel, coming up through the knee, through the hip, to the side of the body, maybe lifting the shoulder, maybe taking the left arm up. Turn to look towards the left fingers and reach up, as though you can touch the ceiling, perhaps. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, bring the heel down, bring the arm down, and just breathe as you need to. We're going to do it again, so rock a little bit from side to side. Just get that sense of rebalancing down through the feet. And then when you're ready, we're going to draw the right heel up, the right hip up through the right shoulder, up through the right arm. Perhaps you can turn to look up towards the right fingers and really reach up, come up onto the very tips of the right toes. So you're really reaching up through the right side. You're going to feel the weight sink down into the left. Notice all the sensations in your body. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, let the arm rest, let the foot settle down. Last time on the other side, we're going to draw the left heel up. Feel that feeling coming up through the hip, through the side of the body, through the left shoulder, up through the left arm. Maybe you can turn to look up to the left fingers and really reach up so you can lift the ribs away from the hip. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, just settle back. Now feel the weight. Is there equal weight between each foot? And then, you know, often there's not. We will always favour one side, whether you're left-sided or right-sided. So now, but can we consciously try to balance the weight in the feet? And then we're just going to, now again, look at our toes. Just going to do some exercises with our feet, so just bear with me. So if you look down at your toes, and you know, if you're wearing socks, just imagine you can see your toes, or take your socks off. Draw the toes up, draw the toes down. Draw the toes up, you feel the weight go back into the heels, and then bring the toes down. Now push the toes down and kind of make a claw with your feet, as though you're trying to lift something up underneath, as though you're trying to lift up a golf ball or something underneath your toes, trying to make your feet smaller. So that will lift the arches and that will really start to work the tendons in the central part of the feet. And then stretch your toes forward and then draw the toes in. So you really kind of, like, as though with your hand, you're really drawing in through the toes, trying to make the feet smaller. And that will lift the arch. And you might even feel that in your ankle, you might feel that in your pelvic floor. Doing those kind of things will lift the central parts, the central muscles of the body, and then stretch the toes forward. Just doing that a few times, drawing the toes in, stretching the toes away. Drawing the toes in, stretching the toes away. And now, if you're looking at your feet, we're going to lift all the toes up, lift the toes up, and you're just going to see if you can bring the big toes down, just the big toes. Notice if your fingers start to move, that's okay. Then lift the big toes and then lower the big toes. So just the big toes, up and down. And if nothing's happening, just keep trying. Eventually those kind of neural pathways, those pathways down to your feet, they start to wake up again. Because they are there, it's just that we don't really use our feet that much as we get older. And then when you're ready, bring the big toes down, and then can you bring the little toes down? So you leave the 3 middle toes, so I can't do it. Leave the 3 middle toes lifted, and it's just the big toes and the little toes that stay down. So the 3 middle toes come up. Now if nothing's happening, you can consciously push the big toes and the little toes down and lift the middle 3. And then you can push the middle 3 toes down and lift the big toes and the little toes. And nothing might happen, but sometimes on me it does, sometimes it doesn't. And then bring the big toes down and the little toes down, lift the middle 3. And then bring the middle 3 toes down and lift the big toes and the little toes. And then you stop and then give your feet a shake, because it is a bit weird, but there's just as many bones and muscles in our feet as there are in our hands. And you know, when we come to do standing balances, which is what we're going to work with, what we're balancing on is our feet, obviously. So the stronger they are, the more mobile, the more supple your feet are, the more possibility there is of balancing. So now the feet are at least a width apart. Focus your gaze, and all we're going to do, we're going to lift up the right heel. You're going to feel the weight rest down a little bit into the left foot, but don't sink. So there's still that sense the hips are in line or together, and you're just on the tips of the right toes. You can take the arms out for balance, and maybe you can keeping the foot in contact with the floor. You can just in a half circle, sweeping the leg round in front, half circle, and then half circle round behind. Keep your gaze focused so your head is quite still. Keep the standing leg, the left leg or left knee, softish, so you're not locking any of your joints. And then see if it's possible, can you take the right foot off the floor and you're still doing that little circle, forward and round, forward and back. Obviously, if it's too much, you can hold on. If you've got a chair near you or anything like that, you can just touch. And then when you're ready, stop carefully, bring that foot back down on the floor, then rebalance, equalise your weight between the feet. Now we're going to lift up the left heel. So you're going to feel the weight rest down into the right foot. You don't have to push, you don't have to sink. You can have the hands out there for balance, or you can, I've got a wall behind me, or you can touch a chair, hold onto a chair or whatever's around you. And then just toes lightly touching the floor, just half circle round. Keep your gaze focused, make sure you're breathing. And slow it down, you know, there's nowhere to go with it, all we're trying to do. And notice the how the weight transfers into that right foot. So the adjustments of your weight in that right foot is really good exercise in that right foot. In that right ankle, the weight will just kind of shift itself around. And then just see if you can take the left foot off the floor. And still doing that moving, half circling round, seeing how that is. And then stop. Then just bring the foot down. So that's sort of balancing with the gaze focused, and now we're going to see if we can balance moving our head. So first of all, just bring the right toes, so right toes on the floor, bring the right heel up, and try to remember that, so your centre of your spine, the central gravity is here. If you move forward or if you move back, that will affect your balance. So let's work with that. So if you bring the feet down again, place your hands on the top of your head. Right now, just have a sense of the weight of your feet resting down. If you push down into the toes, your weight will go forward. If you push down into the heels, your spine will go back. So now equalise the weight between the base of the toes and the heels. Now when you bring the right heel up, imagine that heel coming all the way up through the leg, to the hip, to the centre of the spine, to the arms that are above you. Take the arms out. Now you keep the spine just as, or the back just as it is. So you're just on the tips of the toes at first, the right toes, and then just move your head. If possible, turn your gaze from side to side. Just see if that's a possibility. Obviously you can bring the foot down anytime you like. If you sway or if you move, that's, you know, it's fine. And then when you're ready, come to centre. Now see if you can take your gaze down. See if you can take the gaze up. Make sure you're breathing. And the next time you take your gaze down, can you bring your hands just to rest on that right knee? And then bring the right foot down and just bring yourself to stand. Right, so we're going to do the same on the other side. Lift up the left heel. Your spine is still coming up. It's not shifting to the side or forward or back. You've still got that sense that the crown of your head is coming up towards the ceiling. You can take the arms out wide for balance if it's helpful for you. And then just turn your gaze from side to side. And if that's okay, when you're ready, you can take the gaze down. You can take the gaze up. So we're going to build on this. Now notice how your weight shifts in that standing leg and in that standing foot. Next time your gaze comes down, can you bring the hands just to touch that left knee? Bring the foot down, soften both knees round through the spine and bring yourself to stand. Right, so you can stay with that. If that's enough for you, stay with that. If you can, lift up the right heel. Get your balance. Then see if you can take the right foot, hover the foot off the floor a little bit, or take the knee a little bit higher. Get your balance, and then see, can you turn your head from side to side. Now you can move, obviously you might find yourself moving, and you can always put your foot back down. If you need to sort of touch something around you, it's fine. Just moving your head. Notice how the weight shifts or transfers through that standing foot, because that's where a lot of the work is, or all the work really, in a sense, is taking place. Then see if you can take the gaze down. See if you can take the gaze up. And really being aware of that standing foot, the left foot adjusting itself, transferring weight, using all the muscles of that left foot. Next time your gaze goes down, can you lightly touch the left knee? Bring the right foot down, adjust your balance, round through the spine to bring yourself to stand. So now your feet on the floor, balance as equal as possible between the feet. Just do the same on the other side. So first of all, we're going to bring up the left heel. Get your balance, because you can stay here if that's enough for you. If it's okay, bring up the foot a little bit, bring up the knee. And take the arms wide for balance. And obviously you can always come out of it and just start again. And then you just see if you can take the gaze to side to side. Try not to lock that standing leg. And if you shift or sway, it's fine. You're just adjusting the balance through that standing foot, and you're working that standing foot. And that's really good to help you balance in everyday life when you're out. If you trip, you're more likely to stay upright, because your feet will be strong, your ankles will be strong. See if you can take the gaze down. See if you can take the gaze up. Make sure you're breathing. And if you come out of it, you know, it's fine. You just start again, like me, start again. And then next time your gaze comes down, can you lightly touch the right knee? Bring the left foot down, soften both knees, rounding through the spine, bring yourself to stand. So you've got both feet flat to the floor now, just adjusting, feeling that connection down, and perhaps feeling, notice the balance. Is there equal balance or equal weight in both feet? Just see how that feels. Now focus your gaze, let your arms just rest. We're going to lift up the right heel. You're going to feel the weight rest into the left foot. You don't have to see. Your body adjusts itself. Your body knows what to do. Keep your gaze focused and see if you can bring up the knee, the right knee. Lightly touch the left hand on that knee and then lower. Allow the weight to shift equal into both feet. Bring up the left heel, bring up the left knee. Can the right hand lightly touch? And then lower. Right, so now take the arms out. If it's okay, we're going to bring up the right knee, lightly touch the left hand on the knee, lower. Bring up the left knee, lightly touch the right hand on that knee. Open the arms, lower. And just continue, just the opposite hand on that knee. Keep your gaze focused, keep your breath steady. And kind of as well, you're not trying to rush through it. You're not trying to do anything particular, I want to fall over, except feel the weight transfer and rest into that standing foot. So you're really building strength into the standing leg, as well as, I mean, these are quite good core exercises as well. And then just see if it's possible, the next time the right knee lifts, focus your gaze. Can you take both hands underneath the right knee? Just ease the knee in. Let the foot sort of rest, let the foot rest. You draw the knee in, relax your shoulders, focus your gaze, make sure you're breathing. And then let go and lower. Adjust the feet, and not adjust the feet, sorry. Adjust your balance so the weight rests equally as possible into both feet. Take the arms out. Settle your gaze on something that's not moving. Lift up the left heel. Wait a few moments. Can you lift up the left knee? Can you take both hands underneath the left knee? Can you ease the knee in? But can you keep your spine upright, as though the crown of your head is being drawn up towards the ceiling? And then carefully lower the leg I should say. Take the feet a little bit wider. Just let the arms sort of rest, focus your gaze and feel the connection down through the feet. So the base of the big toes, little toes and heels. The outside edges, the inside edges. Soften your knees, bring your hands towards your knees. Let your gaze come down towards the floor. Draw the chin in, and can you really let go of the weight of your head? Imagine the back of your waist being drawn up, so have a sense of a really rounded spine. Perhaps your hands can go a little bit lower, towards the ankles, towards the floor, and then just walk back and come to stand. So we're going to do that one more time. We're going to walk the hands towards the knees. Maybe, if you like, if you soften the knees, you can just take hold of your elbows and just sway or rock from side to side. Just to ease into the shoulders as well. Move your head, soften your jaw. Really think of the back of the waist being rounded, as though you're trying to make as much space in the front of the hips as possible. And then maybe when you unfold the hands, they might touch the floor. If they don't, it's fine. You just bend your knees or bring your hands on somewhere on your legs, it's fine. Now, so is it possible, can you lift up one heel at a time? Just shifting your weight a little bit. And then just walking your hands forward a little bit. Soft knees, roll down, soft knees. And then bringing your knees down. Flatten your feet. And if possible, just ease the hips back towards the heels. Then lightly come back up. So just don't force anything with your knees. Let's just do a little movement through the hip. So you're in all fours. Carefully ease the hips back a little bit. Then send the crown of the head forward a little bit. So just easing yourself into these movements. Send the hips back a little bit. Send the crown of the head forward a little bit. Just rocking forward and back. And maybe you're going a little bit further forward. So it's good weight bearing in the wrist. I know it can be a little bit sore, but just, it's a good way of improving circulation to those joints. And as you ease the hips back towards the heels, noticing how your knees feel, how your thighs feel. Can you go all the way back? Can you bring the elbows a little bit closer? Now you can make light fists with your hand to support your head. Or your forehead might go on one fist, or it might go all the way down to the floor. So just kind of see what's doable for you. Feeling the weight of your head and the weight of your shoulders and your body. And then carefully, when you're ready, coming up and just coming to rest down. So just turning, we just do a few movements before we go into the breathing practice. So if you just come down, so soles of your feet flat to the floor. And if you place your hands onto your belly, just circle, or you circle, rub the belly for a few moments, just to make sure it's quite soft. The softer the outside muscles are, then the more responsive more responsive movement we can find with the breath. Let the belly soften, be aware of your breath, and then when you're ready, stop. And then we're just going to draw the right knee in, and we're going to send the right leg up towards the ceiling, but the right knee is quite soft. The right knee is quite soft. Then we're going to send the left leg up, and the left knee is quite soft. Then we're going to take the arms up, but the elbows are quite soft. So the weight of the legs rests down into the hips, the weight of the arms rests down into the shoulders. You've got space between your ears and your shoulders, and your jaw is soft. So we're just learning to give our weight down to the floor. So we're just inverting ourselves really. So the blood flow from the toes and the blood flow from the fingers is just given a rest. We're allowing ourselves to settle back towards the heart. And then when you're ready, carefully bend your knees. So the feet are still off the floor if possible. So if you're not sure, you can bring your feet on the floor, but just kind of see what feels right for you. Be aware of your breath coming in. And then as you breathe out, lengthen the right leg away, hovering off the floor, send the left arm on the floor above your head. On the in-breath, bring the knee in, lightly touch the hand onto that right knee. As you breathe out, send the right leg away, take the left arm on the floor above your head. So just stay with that arm. And then as you breathe in, bring the right knee in, lightly touch with the left hand. And then just continue, right leg, left arm. Or I should say right knee, left hand. Just lightly touching. Maybe once or twice more just on that side. And you're going to feel that in the belly, sort of deep core muscles, deep inside. Then the next time your knee comes in, stay there. Take both hands underneath the knee and just ease the knee down. Just ease the knee down. Make sure you're breathing and then let go. So we're going to do the same on the other side. If it's okay to keep the arms up towards the ceiling, do that. If you'd rather take the arms down, that's fine as well. So when you're ready, be aware of your breath coming in. And as you breathe out, left leg goes away, right arm goes on the floor above your head. As you breathe in, bring the knee in, lightly touch the left knee with the right hand. As you breathe out, you can sink the belly, left leg goes away, right arm goes on the floor above your head. As you breathe in, you bring the knee back in, lightly touch on the hand. The knee on the hand on the knee. I think that's right. So you just continuing, and you slow it down with that connection with your breath, that's all. And finding that movement deep inside the belly, the connection back through to the spine. And then when you're ready, just the left knee comes in, take both hands underneath the knee and ease the knee down. Draw your chin slightly down to have a sense of long back of the neck from the base of the skull down through to the tailbone, and then let go. Now we just see if we can do alternate. If it's too much for you, you can bring the feet on the floor, you can take your hands onto the floor. But if it's okay, take both arms up so the feet are off the floor. So that we breathe in, the out breath lengthens the right leg away and the left arm on the floor above your head. The in breath brings the knee in, left hand on that right knee. Then as you breathe out, the left leg goes away, right arm goes on the floor above your head, and then as you breathe in, the right hand comes onto that left knee. So you're just doing alternate, that's all you're doing. So slowing it down with your breath, and now the hands sort of cross in front of you. But you're just doing alternate arm and leg, that's all that's happening. And you're really feeling that connection deep inside your spine. And the hands are just lightly touching the knee, opposite hand to the knee. Slow it down, feeling your breath, and notice the sensations that are starting to occur deep inside the belly. If you feel anything in your lower back, then you stop. If it's too much, you stop, and you can place your feet on the floor. But there's strengtheners for the lower back as well as for the abdominal muscles, as well as training ourselves to focus. Then the next time your knee comes in, whatever hand, and the hand lightly touches, take both hands underneath the knees and just ease the knees down. Cross the ankles, maybe the right ankle on top, or just notice which one you've done, and then just rock from side to side. So it just eases into the muscles in the back of the waist. Then just change the cross of the ankles and just continue to rock from side to side. Just having a sense, knowing what your habits are and what you usually do. Come to centre. Lightly place your feet on the floor. Let the hands come to rest on the base of the ribs. And just have a sense of your breath settling down. Let your shoulders, really, can you have a feeling of your shoulders, the back of the shoulders connected to the floor, and then just allow your knees to drop to the right. Doesn't matter, if you've gone the other way, it's all right as well. Bring the knees back up, and then let your knees go to the left, but can the shoulders stay quiet? So now we're lengthening those abdominal muscles. Bring the knees back up, and let your knees go one way. Bring the knees back up, and then just let your knees drop the other. So just continue, just rocking the knees from side to side. Just getting a feeling of what's going on in your lower body. So we're just starting to ease into the abdominal muscles now, as well as easing into the lower back. Notice as well that rolling through the feet. So when the knees come up, the soles of the feet are flat to the floor. When the knees go to the right, you're on the outside edge of the right foot, the inside edge of the left foot. The knees come up, the soles of the feet flat to the floor. When the knees go to the left, you're on the outside edge of the left foot, the inside edge of the right foot. So you start to refine your attention. You start to feel what's happening, not just with your knees or with your lower back, but perhaps with your feet. And then ultimately, we slow it down completely and bring our attention to our breath. So bring your knees back to centre. Let the hands come to rest on the belly. Now just see, you can keep your knees bent if you like this, or you can experiment sending one leg away, then the other leg. So you've got, you're coming to Shavasana, or you know, you can bend the knees, just sort of see what feels right for you. Hands are on the belly, and just allow all your attention to focus on your hands. And when you breathe into your hands. And as you breathe out, just let the belly sink. So you don't have to pull the belly in, you don't have to do anything. You're just noticing that when you breathe in, your belly rises. And when you breathe out, your belly falls. And we're not trying to do anything. We're training ourselves to observe, to notice. So as you continue to practice in this way, feeling, knowing that you don't have to change anything, knowing that we're not here to manipulate or make things different. At this moment when you start to rest, all we're working at doing, training ourselves to do, is to notice. And it's been said that one of the most accessible ways to alleviate stress or anxiety, discomfort, is to allow things to be just as they are, so not wanting things to be different. So when you breathe in, you just notice, and you feel the breath underneath your hands, and as you breathe out, you let go of your breath. And then you work with that knowledge and that deep understanding that your breath will return, and that breath is freely given to you. And when you breathe out, you're giving it back. So your interest lies in something so simple and free. And when we start to work in this way, perhaps our body rests a little bit more into the floor. So you feel the breath coming in. And as you breathe out, can you allow the whole of your body to rest a little bit deeper and settle into the floor? And then there's a breath that comes in. And as you breathe out, you let go of the breath, you let go of your body, and you feel the support of the earth beneath. And you trust in the breath and the knowledge that your body knows how to breathe. And your body knows how to be healthy. And when we give ourselves time to rest and nourish, we heal and we restore. So as the practice comes towards its close, just noticing how you feel now and starting to prepare to come back out. So next time you breathe in, just breathing in a little bit deeper. As you breathe out, just breathing out a little bit longer. Breathing in a little bit deeper. Signalling to the body that we're about to start to move, and as you breathe out, just letting go. And mate, just when you're ready, as you breathe, just start to move your fingers and move your toes. If you want to, you can stretch the arms overhead, stretch the legs away, doing whatever feels good for you. So you prepare yourself to come back to the rest of the day or evening. Coming onto your side when you're ready and just resting there for a few moments. So taking your time and only coming to sit up when you're ready.